You know, trans kids, this is it right here. That's the coach. Trans kids belong. They had a conversation together. They walked up to each other. They had the talk. And by the way, just so you know, we did not know this. I Googled to see which side Cheryl Reeve is on. She's actually lesbian. Nothing wrong with that. But they're having a conversation here to the left. That's Sophie and her talking. Then the post-game interview, she's being interviewed, the coach, and the question is asked. And here's what the coach had to say of the opposing team. If you can go to what the coach had to say of the opposing team in the post-game interview.
Buddy, drop whatever you are doing right now and listen very closely, because the entire landscape of women's sports has just been turned upside down. We are witnessing what many are calling one of the most explosive, emotionally charged and controversial standoffs in WNBA history behind closed doors, away from the flashing cameras and the roaring crowds. Caitlin Clark has reportedly reached her breaking point. For weeks the media has been talking about the growing tension, the physical play and the constant disrespect surrounding the Indiana Fever, but almost nobody was prepared for what reportedly unfolded inside that locker room. According to circulating reports, Caitlin Clark has finally broken her silence after a highly controversial situation involving WNBA coaches and the Trans Kids Belong protest shirts. The attention allegedly shifted towards Sophie Cunningham, but according to this narrative, they made one critical mistake. They underestimated the unwavering loyalty of Caitlin Clark. Do not skip a single second of this video, because we are taking a closer look at the reported legal dispute that has everyone talking, along with the alleged confrontation between Clark and members of the coaching staff and the reported ultimatum that has sparked intense debate across the basketball world. To understand how this controversial situation reportedly began, you first have to understand what happened in Seattle. The atmosphere was already incredibly tense. Seattle Storm coaches and several opposing teams had openly worn Trans Kids Belong shirts, turning the basketball court into the center of a much larger public conversation. But according to this narrative, the issue was never just about a shirt. It became a story about power, influence, and the pressure that some believed was being placed on players behind the scenes.
More than anything, educate, and there are some things that, you know, we have in common and maybe some things you differ on, just like any issues. And I think it's how you handle things. And so...
You can pause it right there. I want you to now watch what Caitlin Clark's
nice
coach had to say when she was questioned. This is Caitlin Clark's coach. Okay, go for it.
Your stance on men or athletes who test as biological male participating in women's sports? What's your personal
Watch
stance?
her answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't.
Oh my.
No, but wait a minute. You got to keep playing it. Is this the only clip we have? Oh, okay.
I think that's it.
Because she says, I used to play with men when I was a kid. I always played with men when I was a kid. And she answers the question like, you know, I'm not a scientist. I'm not this. I'm not that. And then the game's being played yesterday. Sophie Cunningham gets hit in the face by an elbow that pretty much almost like massive foul. They called the foul on her. I don't even know if we can even play this clip or not. If you know, you can.
According to reportedly well-placed inside sources, when Sophie Cunningham refused to give in to the growing pressure from opposing coaching staffs, she allegedly became public enemy number one. The coaches reportedly turned against Sophie, launching what many described as a coordinated effort to isolate her and damage her reputation. We are talking about constant verbal attacks from the sidelines, questionable officiating, and opposing coaches allegedly directing harsh words at Sophie almost every time she touched the basketball. According to this narrative, the goal was to break her confidence. They wanted to make an example of her in front of the entire country. Meanwhile, league officials were accused of remaining silent as the enforcer of the Indiana Fever continued facing mounting pressure. They believed Sophie was standing alone. They believed she was an easy target, but they forgot one important thing. Sophie Cunningham is one of the strongest supporters of the biggest star in the game, and when you go after that protector, many believe the superstar is eventually going to respond. The breaking point reportedly arrived after another emotionally charged game filled with what witnesses described as targeted treatment towards Sophie from the opposing bench. The Indiana Fever returned to the locker room where the atmosphere was incredibly tense. Sophie, who is known for taking every challenge with confidence, was reportedly visibly shaken by what many described as an unprecedented level of disrespect from WNBA coaches. For months, Caitlin Clark had stayed quiet. She accepted the hard fouls, ignored the criticism, and focused on basketball. But watching her loyal teammate pushed to the edge reportedly became the final straw. Witnesses claimed the locker room suddenly fell completely silent as Caitlin Clark stood up. She did not simply speak. According to those reports, she passionately confronted the room, walking directly toward team management and nearby league officials while visibly overcome with emotion and frustration.
All the problems that we have in our society, we have to still play this trans kids belong. And listen, I pray for those people. I pray for those people that are confused. My heart goes out to them. I literally pray all the time. Like, let them figure it out. Talk to somebody that's going to do it instead of them patting you on the back and saying, you know what? Take your breast off or chop your penis off. And the majority of those people have freaking depression and they wind up killing themselves. Or if not, they wind up shooting up places and they call us transphobic. Give me a freaking break. Shut down the WNBA. Where's the money coming from? Name me a company that loses $40 million a year and people still put up with this. And mind you, Caitlin Collins is your superstar. Caitlin Collins, whatever. Potato. That's how much, Adam.
Well, it's technically, if you can't do potato in the NBA, then
exactly.
it's
But Adam, think about
and she got you new TV and sponsorship deals, and that money is being used to pay the players, and now you don't need her.
And great point, Tom. Are you ready for this, Adam? They hate her because she's white. She's the nastiest player in the league, and everybody, the coaches, the refs, the players, all hate on her because she's a white star, and she had to bend the knee too. I'm done with the WNBA, bro. I'm tired of it. Is that bad? I'm furious. No, am I wrong?
So where are you at with this?
I'm just, Vinny, I mean this sincerely. Thank you for coming over.
Finally, you got me.
Thank you. Just say hi to me.
FYI, just so you know, that's not happening. The first team in WNBA just got $1 billion valuation. Their revenue's up to $500 million. They're not profitable yet, so it's not like they're making money now. But Vinny, there is no way this thing's going away because the simple fact that we're talking about it right now means it's relevant.
Nobody could believe what reportedly happened next. Caitlin Clark allegedly grabbed a clipboard and slammed it against the lockers with tremendous force while raising her voice throughout the room. She did not just stand up for Sophie Cunningham. According to insiders, she fiercely challenged what she believed was the failure of the WNBA coaching establishment. Sources claim Clark shouted, "You let them go after her. You let these coaches cross the line and you did absolutely nothing. She takes every hit for this franchise and I am not going to stand here and watch this league tear her down." The officials inside the room were reportedly stunned, standing in complete silence, but Clark was not finished. She looked directly at the executives and, according to those reports, delivered words that immediately sent shockwaves throughout the basketball world. Clark did not simply raise her voice and walk away. According to the circulating narrative, the situation escalated even further. Then, within 24 hours of the emotional locker room confrontation, widespread reports claimed that Caitlin Clark had brought in her legal team, turning an already explosive situation into one of the biggest talking points surrounding the WNBA.
They were upset with me, man. They were upset. I was surprised. Some people liked the take. Other people were upset with the take. You know, and listen, Kelsey was hot. I'm not saying that. But it's frustrating to never get the ball when you're open in half court. And I mean never. Venom Reacts noticed it. Man, we got to get you over to the Caitlin Clark zone, Venom. Venom noticed it. He saw it. He always sees it.
Like, look at this, man. They got raped.
Yeah, Venom always does solid breakdowns. Awful coaching-esque breakdowns of these Indiana Fever games. Really exposing some things that we all talk about and exposing things that maybe a lot of us haven't seen. So shout out to Venom as well.
Raven Johnson bringing it up. CC's relegated.
As soon as Raven Johnson was in the game, you knew that it was over.
To the left wing. This is sad. Stephanie White, like, this is sad, man. Caitlin Clark, like, even look at the way Caitlin Clark walked away from Aaliyah when Aaliyah tried to talk to her. Like, look right here. Look at Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin right here. Aaliyah tries to talk to her, and Caitlin turns to her left side like, girl, stop talking to me right now. Get ass, stop talking to me. I don't want to hear shit you guys say right now. I'm just being honest. Stop talking to me. I like this, though. I like this. Because all the stuff that I'm saying now is starting to come to the light.
Cece, stop being friends. Stop trying to be friends with everybody. Let them know. Let them know we ain't doing this hub BS. You're the hub. You're the engine. You're not wheels. You're not an exhaust. You're not a hubcap. You're not headers. You're not cams. You're none of that. You are the engine. You are the actual engine itself. The V12 of the Indiana Fever, not the hub. Let them know, hey, we're cool, but we ain't that cool. I'm gonna need that rock.
Like, hee hee ha ha, the Fever on the wing game shit. Oh, whoa.
Caitlin Clark is reportedly considering legal action against opposing WNBA coaches and even the league itself over allegations of targeted harassment, hostile workplace conduct, and emotional distress involving Sophie Cunningham. According to this narrative, the situation is unlike anything the league has ever faced. A young superstar reportedly preparing to challenge the very league she competes in. Sources claim Clark's legal team has already delivered a strongly worded cease and desist letter to Seattle Storm coaches and the WNBA commissioner, and the warning attached to those reports has fueled even more controversy. According to the circulating claims, Clark's message to the league was direct: leave Sophie Cunningham alone, do not target her, do not disrespect her, and do not try to embarrass her on my court, because if it happens again I will fight back and I will challenge this entire establishment every step of the way.
Everyone has a hill they're willing to die on. We've talked about this. We all have our hills. The WNBA has basically said, this is the hill we're willing to die on, because the L, the G, the B has been grouped in with that T, and they need to basically protect that T. And in the NBA, because I'm the local NBA guru over here, we know. Yeah. You know, they say, you live by the NBA. You say you live by the 3 and you die by the 3, right? So the women of the NBA are gonna die on this hill if it's the last thing they do. And they're not double dribbling. They're doubling down on this nonsense. And at this point, I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm sitting there eating my popcorn, just being like, you have this generational talent, Caitlin Clark, and you're running her out of the league. And you have this beautiful person, Sophie Cunningham, who's basically saying, listen, I'm just a normal person. I'm not political. I just don't want dudes in the locker room with me. And they elbow her in the face and they go, that's a foul on you. Yeah, shut your mouth.
Oh, God.
So I don't believe they're doubling down, Adam, but here's why. You're right, but I disagree on this angle. There's never been DEI that's been a special program brought into the WNBA. Never has. It was the culture from day one. Their culture was this. Well,
I don't mean this disrespectful. They're all lesbians. A lot of them are lesbians.
The point is, DEI was brought into certain companies and they faked it and they put up programs. We have a DEI program. Mm-hmm. They had DEI DNA. This was it since the beginning. And what you are seeing is a culture clash with Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham and organ rejection. The
WNBA is reportedly facing one of the most intense periods of scrutiny in recent memory. According to this narrative, the Seattle Storm coaches accused of targeting Sophie Cunningham are now facing the possibility of serious legal consequences, along with the outrage of millions of Caitlin Clark supporters. Reports claim the commissioner's office has entered full crisis mode as officials work behind the scenes to contain the growing controversy before it causes even greater damage to the league's future across the United States. The story has exploded into one of the biggest topics in sports, dominating headlines and spreading rapidly across social media. Supporters of Caitlin Clark have praised her loyalty, calling her one of the greatest teammates in the game for reportedly risking everything to stand behind Sophie Cunningham, while others within the basketball establishment, including opposing coaches, executives, and critics, are said to be watching the situation with growing concern. According to this narrative, many believe Caitlin Clark now holds enormous influence, and if she follows through with the reported legal action or refuses to play until major changes are made, the WNBA could face significant financial pressure and lose a substantial portion of its audience.
It was a bigger story than Nolan Wells that Caitlin Clark actually got some calls last game. So I'm sure the officials saw that, and they made sure today that she didn't get any calls and she didn't shoot many free throws. That was the thing today. You refs got to stay off Twitter, man. You're so reactive in this league, man. What a league this is, man. But yeah, this was all game. And I get there at home and I get that, if you call that every time, all Minnesota's guards will file out in the first quarter. But still, to never call it is the opposite way. And I'm not talking about just fouls, I'm talking about to never call this. This is a foul, okay? If that's Olivia Miles, that's a foul. Olivia Miles is a rookie. Hasn't paid her dues. Doesn't have to mention Cheryl Swoops.
That's true. The rules were reversed for calling a foul on this. And I think that's everybody's biggest gripe. If this wasn't called by any across the board, fine. But the fact that it's such a double standard, maybe not double standard, the fact that there's such hypocrisy involved, it's like, all right, well, we're going to call fouls here. No, I think double standard is the right word. The fact that we're going to call fouls when it's Caitlin Clark playing defense, but we're not going to call fouls when they're playing defense like this on Caitlin Clark, well, that's the issue. We need it to be fair across the board.
And all the veterans, Cynthia Cooper and Teresa Weatherspoon, every time she opens her mouth, she's not required to do that. But she hasn't even paid her dues yet in the league yet, and she gets that ball.
This is the ultimate showdown according to this narrative. It is the unstoppable superstar standing against the entire WNBA coaching establishment. Now I want to know exactly what you think. Drop your raw, unfiltered thoughts in the comments right now. Do you believe Caitlin Clark is doing the right thing by reportedly standing up for Sophie Cunningham and demanding accountability from the league, or do you think this growing controversy could have lasting consequences for the future of the WNBA? Smash that like button if you support Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. Share this video with every basketball fan who wants to join the conversation, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another major WNBA update. I will see you in the next one, buddy.